Hello, my name is Mark Black. In this video, we're going to look at how we scale down an IBM Spectrum LSF Suite 10.2 cluster. This is part of a series of videos, so if you're interested in other topics, there are many other videos that you can look at. Okay, by scaling down, what do I actually mean? In essence, I'm just talking about removing a machine from the cluster. That could be an LSF master host, a GUI host, or a server or client host. So this is my demo environment. I have multiple masters, multiple GUI hosts, multiple servers. And what I want to do is take away one of each of them and show you how to do that. So first of all, why do we need to scale down? Well, machines die, right? They have a limited life cycle. They may go off lease and you've got to return them, or you maybe want to repurpose them for something else. There are some limitations. You have to have at least one LSF master and one GUI host running. Otherwise, your cluster will be down and your users couldn't submit work to it. You also need to have the database running at all times. So some things to note: the process or procedure you're going to use will depend somewhat on the state of the machine. So if the machine's dead, well, obviously you won't be able to remove the software from it. So we'll just look at the manual steps necessary to change the configuration. And you may also have dynamic hosts enabled, so you want to make sure that any hosts that you do remove don't magically reappear again. Let's start by looking at how we'd scale down, say, an LSF server or LSF client host. The process is exactly the same for both of these, and so we will just cover them in one shot. And we're going to assume that the machine is dead. Okay, so in this scenario, we have an LSF server host that's giving us some trouble. Maybe it's died. We can't ping it. We're not able to log in. So we won't be able to remove any software from it. The only thing that we can do is modify the LSF cluster so that the machine is no longer there. So what I'll do is I'll log into my cluster and make sure the machine's dead. I'm going to edit the LSF inventory file on the deployer node to make sure that that host is removed from the inventory file and we don't inadvertently try and run some commands on it. I'll also manually edit the LSF configuration file to remove the dead machine. And that involves editing the LSF cluster file and restarting some of the daemons. I'll verify then that everything is working, and you'll see the end result. Okay, let's go do that right now. Okay, so I've logged into the LSF master host, and I'm going to remove one of the machines. So let's take a look at what we have. Oops. Okay, so this is my cluster, and you can see I'm on the master node. So let's find the machine that's dead. Okay, this one doesn't seem to be reporting back any metrics. Let's check with B hosts. Yeah, sure enough, it's the same one. So it's the state is unavailable. So this is a machine that's giving us some trouble. Let's see if I can ping it. No. Okay, it's well and truly down. So what do we need to do? There are a couple of things. One, in the deployer node, we want to make sure that this host is removed. I'm not on the deployer node right now, but we'll switch to that in just a second. Actually, let me do that right now. Okay, so this is the deployer node, and I'll go to the playbook directory. Opt IBM LSF installer playbook. Right, so we need to make sure that this machine isn't listed in the inventory file. Let's do that right now. And the reason we're doing that is because if we ever rerun any of the deploy commands or some of the other ones, it would try to access this machine and do whatever configuration steps it was trying to do. And we don't want that happening because obviously it's dead. And you can see, oh, there it is. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, so that means that when we rerun the playbook, we're not going to encounter any problems again. Okay, let me go back to the master host. Now, okay, so we want to get rid of this box. So what do we need to do? We need to manually modify one of the configuration files in the LSF cluster. So we want to go to opt, IBM, LSF suite, LSF conf. I'll show you the files here. So you can see I've been running playbooks a few times, so I've got some backup files here. This is the file here that is listing all of the hosts in the cluster. So let's take a look at that. I think it was 88F1. There it is. Okay, so this is a machine that's giving us trouble. So let's go and get rid of that. Okay, just deleted the entry. Okay, now I need to restart the daemons. Restart. So I'm using the lsadmin command and telling it to restart the lim daemon. Okay, it did that. Now I want to restart the master batch daemon. So badmin mbd restart. Okay, so it's done that. Now if we check our cluster, okay, yep. Let's try that again. I'll grep for that bad host. Idiot F1. Hey, it's gone. Beauty. So there we go. We've removed a dead machine from our cluster. Okay, let's look at that again. This time, though, we're going to start off with a machine that's actually running. So we'll do a few things on that machine first to make sure it doesn't come back. So I'm able to log into this machine, but I have to disable the LSF daemons that are on that to prevent that machine coming back again as perhaps a dynamic host. So if you've configured dynamic hosts in your LSF cluster, these are machines that will dynamically join the cluster. They only need to know the name of the LSF master host in order to join in. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to stop the LSF daemons. Then I'm going to edit the deployer's inventory file. So again, so that we don't inadvertently try and add a machine back in. Then I'm going to manually change the configuration of the cluster so that the machine is deleted from the cluster. I'll run the commands to restart the daemons, and we'll verify that everything is okay. Okay, let's switch over to the live environment and do that. Okay, so let me remove a machine that's running in the cluster. So I'm going to start off on the deployer node, so in my playbook directory, and I'm going to edit the LSF inventory file. And this is the machine here that I want to get rid of. So I'll just comment that out. Okay, so it'll prevent us re-adding the box in inadvertently. Let's go to the master now and start cleaning things up. So it's a little bit more difficult to remove a machine that's already in the cluster and running. That's simply because it may be running some work. So we actually have to close the host first before we remove it. Okay, so this is my master host. So let me show you what I mean. So running the bhost command, this shows me what's happening with the batch queue and how it's dealing with the hosts. So here's all of my list of hosts, but the thing to note is the number of jobs. This shows you the number of jobs that are running on each host. My cluster isn't doing anything right now, but if it were, this number would be higher than 0. So we want to get rid of one machine, so let's see what's going on with that machine. So it's bhost grep, and we'll give it the machine name. Oops. Host 86b6. We can see, okay, number of jobs 0. If it was running some jobs, we would need to make sure that that machine isn't running any jobs. So the way we would do that is first we want to close the machine. So close it to running any new work. So I can use the badmin command for that. I'll just get some help first. So what we want to do is run badmin with this option here, hclose. So this closes a host, and we want to close this host. Okay, so we would do that, and what we would then do is wait for it to finish running its jobs or complete its jobs, and we can check periodically just by running bhost again. And you can see the state is now closed, and the number of jobs running on it is 0. Of course, you can do all these things from the GUI, but I'm just using the CLI for now. Okay, so it's closed, it's ready to remove. Let's go do that right now. So first of all, I want to shut down the daemons on that box so we don't inadvertently bring it back again. So the way I do that is using system control. And we want to disable LSFD, the LSF daemons. Okay, they're disabled, and we want to stop them. Okay, let's check that out. Okay, good. No LSF daemons running. Okay, so it's done that. Now I've returned back to my master host. I want to remove this machine from the configuration now. So we do this by going to the opt IBM LSF suite LSF conf directory, and we want to modify this file here. And let's find our machine, host 86B6. There it is. Let's get rid of it. So I just commented it out. Now I want to restart my daemons. So lsadmin lim restart, and then badmin mbd restart. Okay, now let's see what happened. Okay, so there's a list of hosts. Let's see if our machine is gone. Do ls hosts grep host 86b6. Sure enough, it's gone. Cool. Now we're going to look at how to remove an LSF master host. So again, you have to have at least one functioning LSF master at all times, so make sure you're not removing the last one. So what we'll do here is we'll edit the inventory file on the deployer node, and if possible, we'll stop the LSF daemons. So if the machine had died, well, it'll have failed over to one of the other LSF master hosts. But if it is running, we'll be able to get in there and disable the daemons. And then what I'm going to do this time is, instead of manually editing the configuration files, I'm going to use the playbook to redeploy the cluster. In effect, what this is going to do is actually rebuild the configuration files for me. So I'm just using the playbook to do that action. I'll verify that everything is okay, and we'll see that the LSF master is gone from the cluster. Let's do that right now. Okay, let's go remove that master candidate host. So I'm on the LSF master host right now. And I'll just show you the machine that we're going to remove. So here we have this box here, which is part of the management group. This is a machine that we want to get rid of. So let's take a quick look and see what's going on here. Okay, so we want to make sure that the Number of jobs on that machine is 0. And oh, we can see, okay, it's not 0. It's actually running some work. So what we want to do first is close that host so it doesn't accept any new work. So we're going to badmin hclose and the host name. So you see that this is already closed, but that's closed because it's exhausted all of the slots for running work. But this close here is an administrative close, so this basically stops at accepting new work. Okay, so we've closed that host. We need to wait a little bit for the job to drain away. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is log into it, and we can see what's going on. Yeah. Oops, B. Let's see, is it finished? Yep, beauty. Okay, those were quick jobs, so they finished pretty quickly. So the machine's already closed. It's not accepting new work. It's safe for us to remove it. Let's go and do that. So we don't want this machine to come back inadvertently, so we want to make sure we shut down all of the LSF daemons. So let's run system control. List units and grep for LSF. Okay, so these are the services that are running on it. Let's shut these down. Stop. So we'll stop these. And that shuts off. This one shuts off the LSF daemons. Okay, so that's all of the daemons shut down. And if we want to really clean it up, let's go and remove the packages as well. So let me see. Let me show you what those are. -QA. Grab LSF. Okay, so these are all the packages that were installed on this machine. And this is a master host, so you'll notice it has quite a few packages. Let's go and remove them. So we can use yum remove LSF -asterisk. Okay, let's do it. Okay, that's those ones gone, and there were a few more that had different name. So we'll use *-LSF. We've got these ones. Okay, let's delete these. Actually, I had installed some of these other ones, so you'll notice there's a few more. Okay, let's do our RPM-QA and see what's left. Grep LSF. Beauty. So all the packages are gone. This machine is no longer an LSF master candidate. But what we haven't done is modify the files on the deployer node to make sure that we don't inadvertently add it back in. So let's go do that right now. Okay, so this is my deployer node. I'm in the playbook directory. We want to modify the LSF inventory file. So let's cut this guy out. Insert. Okay, so we have told the deployer that this machine is no longer part of the cluster, but what we haven't done is rebuild the configuration. So if I go and look at the config file, or some of the config files for this cluster, I can do that from here. Fconf. If we look, say, at the lsf.conf file, let me go down here and I'll show you the problem. So you'll see that our LSF master list, for example, still contains this machine that we have basically shut down the daemons and removed them. So what do we need to do to rebuild the configuration so that that's stripped out? Let me show you what we need to do. Okay, let's go back to our playbook directory. IBM. Okay, we've edited the LSF inventory file and removed it. So what we want to do is rebuild the configuration using Ansible. So we run the Ansible playbook -I LSF inventory, and we're going to just reuse the deploy playbook. I don't want to use there is the option of using -limit, right? I can use -limit and restrict it to, say, the LSF masters, but this is a local install. So the lsf.conf, for example, on the LSF server nodes still contains that third machine. So I need to rebuild the configuration on all the boxes. So I'm not going to limit Ansible. I just want to go across all the boxes. So I'm going to start that up. That's going to take a few minutes to run, so I'm just going to pause the video here and we'll come back when it's done, and I'll show you that, hey, that machine's been removed completely from the cluster. Okay, the playbook's done, so let's go and check out the configuration files. Make sure that that machine is removed. So this just happens to be the NFS directory that I'm using for HA. So it's convenient for me to go in here and take a look. Or lsf.conf. And there we go. Our LSF master list is now correct. So those changes have been propagated to the rest of the cluster. And that's essentially how you remove a LSF master from a running cluster. Let's now look at how we would scale down one of the GUI hosts. So again, we need to make sure we have at least one host in the GUI host role before we remove any others. So the process is very similar to the LSF master. We're going to edit the LSF inventory file. We're going to stop the LSF daemons and the GUI daemons if that's possible. And then we'll rebuild the configuration by using the LSF deploy playbook. I'll verify that everything's gone and that the cluster is functioning. This is my GUI host here that I'm going to decommission. So I've logged into the master host already, and we can see it here. We also see that it's actually running some jobs. So before we decommission it, we want to make sure that we close it and drain off those jobs. So again, it's badmin hclose and the name of the machine. Okay, that'll actually take a couple of minutes to drain. So while that's happening, why don't we go to the deployer node and remove this machine from the configuration. So that's in the inventory file. So in inventory file, we want to remove that machine, and it's a GUI host. So you can see I've got 3 machines, so I'm going to remove this one. What this also means is, since I don't have 3 machines, I don't have the full coverage of Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch ideally needs a minimum of 3 machines to preserve the data properly. Oh, with redundancy, right? Yeah, with 2 machines, okay, yes, it will have multiple copies, well, 2 copies, but it doesn't have the ability to automatically determine which one is the correct version or the most up-to-date version. Okay, so that's done. Let's go check and see if the jobs are drained on that box. We're going to this one. Whoops. Okay, no, they're still running. We need to, oh, sorry. They are finished, okay. So now we can go and decommission this box. The other thing that I would like to do before we remove the software is make sure that the configuration for the LSF server nodes has changed so that they aren't sending their data to the logstash instance that's running on this machine here. So what I actually want to do is go back to my deployer node and redeploy the cluster given the modified inventory file. So we run Ansible playbook-I and my inventory file, and we want to run the LSF deploy playbook. This is going to take a few minutes to run, so I'm going to let it run. And again, the reason we're doing this now is so that the configuration for the data collection, so the log files and the monitoring data, is modified so that it's no longer sending any data to that machine that we're going to remove. Okay, I'll pause the video here and we'll come back to it later. Okay, so the playbook's finished and we've updated the configuration. Let's go back to the machine that we were removing and see what's going on. Wait a minute, we removed it. Uh-oh, we still haven't, the configuration of this machine isn't updated, so it still thinks it's part of the cluster. So what we need to do is actually shut down the processes, and then if we want to, we can actually remove the software. So let's check out those processes with system control. So list units, unit or units. We'll see what happens. And grep for LSF. Oh, it's units. Okay, so here's the things that we need to shut down. So stop, and we'll stop the beat stuff first. That's metric beat, file beat, and log stash, and we want Elasticsearch, and finally the LSF daemons. Okay, that took a little bit longer than I expected. Anyway, so let's shut off the LSF services. Okay, so that's all of the services shut down. What we might also want to do is just remove those RPMs. Grab LSF. Well, you can see there's quite a few. Again, we can remove that with yum remove LSF dash asterisk and asterisk dash LSF. So you can ignore the warnings, that's okay. If we wanted to, we could also go away and delete the opt IBM LSF suite directory. Anyway, so that's done, so we can maybe go and power this box off. So that's it. We've removed this machine from being a GUI node. Okay, so what have you seen? You can remove machines from the LSF cluster. You've seen how to do it for the LSF servers and LSF clients, as well as the LSF masters and GUI hosts. And you've also seen how to manually edit the LSF cluster file to control which machines are part of the cluster. In the next video, we'll look at how to do an installation on a shared directory. For more information, here's a link here that you can follow. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that.